It has begun. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has announced the drafting of articles of impeachment. Now, this follows weeks of damning testimony by the Speaker of the House. I'm sorry, damning testimony by different witnesses, people that were part of Trump's administration. Uh, for example, Gordon Sondland. You also had experts testifying that say, yes, what Donald Trump did was impeachable. And so now, earlier this morning, you had Nancy Pelosi coming out and saying this.
The president has engaged in abuse of power, undermining our national security and jeopardizing the integrity of our elections. His actions are in defiance of the vision of our founders and the oath of office that he takes to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Sadly, but with confidence and humility, with allegiance to our founders and a heart full of love for America, today I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment. I commend our committee chairs and our members for their somber approach to actions which the president had not made necessary.
All right, so that's part of her announcement, of course. She also added, the facts are uncontested. The president abused his power for his own personal political benefit at the expense of national security. If we allow the president to be above the law, we do so surely at the peril of our republic. In America, no one is above the law. So here we go, impeachment. So now we have the House, who will be drafting articles of impeachment. Now, won't just be one chairman. It'll be several different chairmen. For example, I'm pretty sure Adam Schiff will be involved and all that. So we'll see what happens. Now, what's interesting is what will be part of these articles. We don't know yet. We don't know what's going to be involved. Now, obviously, yes, the Ukrainian stuff, right? Because it literally launched the impeachment inquiry, and that's what we heard most about. But I think that when you focus on Ukraine, you're actually too narrow. And I know there are some people that are going to disagree with you. Oh, no, we should focus on the Ukraine stuff. No. We don't have to. Yes, there is clear evidence of what he did in Ukraine was illegal and it was for personal political gain. I get that. But there's also a lot of other things that Trump had done that you can add into these articles of impeachment. I mean, make the case. Make your case that he is unfit for office. We all know he's a terrible person, but he's unfit for office, and he used the presidency to benefit himself and his family. You are able to do that with these impeachment hearings. Look, let me give you an example of what they could do, right? We had 10 counts of obstruction of justice just in the Mueller report. They could have backed it on that. However, the Democrats, and by the way, this came back to haunt them later, as you're going to see from Republican response, they just went, 10 counts of obstruction. We don't really care about that. Let's go after something else. Oh, come on. I mean, we could talk about the hush money payments, for example. That's personal political gain, right? Campaign finance violations. Or you could even go to something that's more policy-wise. For example, trying to do Muslim bans, to ban an entire religion from a country based on their religion, which, again, you've had a lot of federal judges try to shut that Muslim ban down because of the language it was used. Again, it is completely un-American to try to ban an entire religion of people from the country. And of course, they've had to go through and, no, we just meant it for this, from these areas because, they're trouble spots. Now, we all know it was, of course, based on their religion because they are Muslim. That is deeply un-American. And so, or you could even go to, for example, the locking up children and do the family separation policy. Look, all these different things you could add into impeachment. And there's about 100 different actual crimes you could add into there as well. And so, why keep it narrow? And again, the question is, why are they going to keep it narrow? I mean, the Republicans, when they did the impeachment of Bill Clinton, and maybe this is part of why they're scared to do so. The impeachment of Bill Clinton was not narrow. No, it was incredibly broad. It started out with a allegedly, corrupt real estate deal with Whitewater, and since they couldn't find anything on that, they're like, hey, you know what? We'll just go to his sex life. This impeachment is actually different. Again, as long as they focus on crimes and reasons that he should not be in office, that he is literally unfit for the office of president. He is unbecoming, undeserving of the office of the presidency. His existence there literally taints the office. Okay, so now other things that they could talk about: enriching himself on the taxpayer's dime. He's done that plenty of times. For example, spending millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, on golfing at his own resort with taxpayer money. So again, we've got a lot of things. He might be the most corrupt president in the history of America. Important stuff. Important stuff. And there's, people that are adding in this, their commentary in the comment section. James Watson adds genocide in Yemen, or at least supporting it, trying to take Saudi Arabia's oil. I actually think that's not Saudi Arabia, but trying to, saying that we should take Iraq's oil, for one, that would be a war crime, and taking Syrian oil, which would also be a war crime. And right now, we actually have soldiers stationed protecting the oil fields instead of course, protecting the Kurds, which is what we were supposed to do in northern Syria. And so, yes, great points, James Watson. Not only that, but of course, destroying relationships with allies, carrying out nuclear treaties, all that stuff. You could definitely add those into impeachment as well. And so, funneling bribes through his hotels, Jesus adds, supporting genocide in Yemen, again, despite the War Powers Act, nepotism, daughter for son-in-law, so Ivanka, Jared Kushner, all that stuff. Again, great points, guys. And so, look, I don't know if the Democrats are going to do that. I don't know if they're going to go broad. Everything tells me that they're probably just going to narrow it to the Ukraine stuff. And so that's kind of sad. Now, it's been hinted at that potential articles would focus on Trump abusing his power by committing bribery, obstruction of justice, and of course, obstructing Congress. And so we don't know, though, until they get drafted. And so, okay. By the way, Jonathan Andrzejczyk says he vetoed the bill that would stop us from supplying weapons to Saudi Arabia when it comes to Yemen. So we are actively engaged in genocide by selling them weapons. So anyway, all right. Now, Republicans, they of course had a conniption as soon as she made this announcement. White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham tweeted this out. She said that Democrats should be ashamed. Quote, Trump has done nothing but lead our country, resulting in a booming economy, more jobs, and a stronger military, to name just a few of his major accomplishments. We look forward to a fair trial in the Senate. I love the argument is, hey, man, you can't impeach the president because look at all the positive stuff that he did for the economy. As if that, of course, negates crimes. And by the way, that's not even true. We don't even have a great economy. Look, right now, and there's recent reports that show that around half of all Americans work in low-wage jobs. So there's your jobs boom, right? These low-wage jobs pay an average of about $18,000 a year. That's the median wage now. Are you kidding me? That's the Trump boom. Oh, but look at all the great economy. All they do is look at Wall Street. And of course, Wall Street, they're doing fantastic. Big corporations doing fantastic. Why? Because nearly $2 trillion in tax cuts for the rich. That's why they're doing well. So, look, then we have, of course, Donald Trump. Donald Trump having obviously a lot to say. He said the do-nothing Democrats had a historically bad day yesterday in the House. They have no impeachment case and are demeaning our country. But nothing matters to them. They have gone crazy. And this, by the way, this is before the announcement. Therefore, I say if you're going to impeach me, do it now, fast, so we can have a fair trial in the Senate. And so that our country can get back to business, we will have Schiff, the Bidens, Pelosi, and many more testify, and will reveal for the first time how corrupt our system really is. So now, I also want to give you a tweet from afterwards. He said, the do-nothing radical left Democrats have just announced that they are going to seek to impeach me over nothing, on all caps. They already gave up on the ridiculous Mueller stuff. As I mentioned earlier, they, of course, used the fact that Democrats did not go after the obstruction of justice against the Democrats. Way to go. He continues by saying, so now they hang their hats on two totally appropriate, perfect phone calls with the Ukrainian president. This will mean that the beyond important and seldom used act of impeachment will be used routinely to attack future presidents. Wait, no. The Republicans talked about impeaching President Obama and also had promised to impeach Hillary Clinton if she had won. So this is absolute ridiculousness and projection on the part of Donald Trump. And then added, that is not what our founders had in mind. The good thing is that the Republicans have never been united. We will win. They've never been more united. And he says that's why they'll win. Okay. So that's part of the Trump response. And so now there's more, right? So now here's the thing. Yesterday, you had lawyers, experts in the field that were testifying whether or not what we've seen so far is worthy of impeachment, right? 4 lawyers, 3 of them were chosen by, of course, Democrats. 1 was chosen by Republicans, and you're going to see why. 3 agreed that, yes, impeachable. Republicans had 1 law professor, Jonathan Turley, arguing that there was no evidence that Trump broke a specific federal statute and that impeaching him would set a dangerous precedent. Oh, really? So now, again, Jonathan Turley, another one of his arguments is if we are going to impeach, if you're going to impeach, then you need to take it really, really, really slow and not impeach Trump until about 2 years. Okay, then. All right. So now this is a little bit different of a stance than he had about 20 years ago, and even sooner, or actually more recently. And so Turley made the opposite case when he pushed for President Bill Clinton to be impeached and removed from office, again, for having a consensual affair. So now let me read his testimony in 1998. Quote, if you decide that certain acts do not rise to impeachable offenses, you'll expand the space for executive conduct. So basically arguing that it's kind of like a balloon, right? Well, so what is impeachable conduct to Jonathan Turley apparently getting, like I said, a blowjob in office, as opposed to Donald Trump's actual crimes? Of course. Now, he added that Clinton's actions didn't need to break any laws, by the way, in order to be considered impeachable conduct. And in fact, he made the same argument all the way up till about 2014. Turley wrote in a 2014 op-ed for the Washington Post that, quote, while there's a high bar for what constitutes grounds for impeachment, an offense does not have to be indictable. Serious misconduct or a violation of public trust is enough. And the founders emphasized that impeachments were about what happened in the political arena, involving political crimes and misdemeanors, and resulting in political punishments. Well, here we have Donald Trump not fit for office and doing things that are, yes, betray the public trust, and also things that are criminal. You literally have both. And Jonathan Turley says, oh, no, we can't impeach him. Why the change? Well, I'm pretty sure we know why. So, look, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats are actually doing the right thing for once. even if it won't result in Donald Trump's removal. And so we'll get into that later. But I think that at the end of the day, this will be incredibly damaging to the Republican Party. Impeachment will. And as Lindsey Graham had once put it, they would deserve it. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.